Hey, Anthropic just dropped Claude Cowork, and today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a head of content coworker. Your new head of content will be able to scrape hundreds of posts across X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to find the best performing content in your niche. And it goes beyond just scraping the text. Your head of content can actually watch the best videos and give you a list of winning content ideas specifically tailored for each platform. Plus, you get a playbook of winning hooks, formats, and styles that are killing it in your niche for each platform. This coworker does about 6 hours of content research in 15 minutes, and I'm giving it away for free in this video with no sign up or anything. Basically, Claude Cowork is Claude Code for the rest of your work. Think organizing files, reading reports, building PowerPoints, but it's way more powerful than that. Because it's built on Claude Code, which is the best agent harness out there right now, it can run scripts and interact with your machine on a much deeper level than typical chats in Claude Desktop. And paired with skills, it's even more powerful. Plus, with a dead simple UI, you literally just point it at a folder on your computer and let it work. I'm extremely excited for Claude Cowork because when paired with Claude skills, it becomes a truly monumental agentic workflow tool. Skills are basically instruction files that teach Claude how to do specific jobs. They're markdown files with prompts, workflows, and sometimes scripts that Claude can execute on runtime. And the magic is that skills are composable. You can have an X research skill that knows how to scrape tweets and an Instagram research skills that can do the same for Reels. Those are both paired with the video analyzer skill that extracts hooks from videos using the Gemini video analysis tool, and then a content planner skill that orchestrates all of them together. This is what I mean when I say you can build any workflow inside of Cowork. Skills paired with deterministic scripts give you the reliability of traditional automation with the flexibility of AI agents. And this is what non-coding workforces have been waiting for. The work Cowork can do actually overlaps with a massive chunk of knowledge workers' normal workflows and even more of something like the virtual assistant workflow. Pretty easy to foresee a library of coworker directories for a head of sales, head of marketing, and head of support all sitting in your Claude desktop. If you want to try the head of content for yourself in Claude Cowork, then here's how. First thing you're going to want to do is go to the GitHub repository, which is linked in the description below. It's completely free, and download the files. So if you're already familiar with Git, that means cloning the repository onto your local machine. If not, just head to the green button here and press download, unzip the folders and put them on your computer in a place where you'd like. Once you've done that, open up the repository in Visual Code Studio, or honestly, you could probably just do this in Finder. Just copy and paste the environment variable like I'm about to show you now. So I'm going to do it in Cursor just because that's what I'm comfortable with, but you can do this directly in the file directory, or you could do this in Visual Code Studio or anything. So go to the left-hand side here and find the .env.example file. What you want to do is select it, press Command-C and Command-V. That'll make a new copy of the .env. Then you need to rename it as just .env. This is our secure file that allows us to store our API keys so that the Claude skills are able to interact and run these scripts that are in this folder. Now you're going to want to open your .env and just copy and paste in your TubeLab API key, your Apify token, and your Gemini API key. If you don't know how to generate any of these, the links to the documentation are right here. And there's a detailed README in the repository with all the instructions that you'll need to sign up for those tools. There's also links in the description below to sign up for these tools. So once you've got all of your environment keys saved into here, you can press save. I'm going to do that off camera. The next thing we want to do is jump into Claude Cowork and go to the settings tab where we'll add in the skills that we just downloaded from the repo. So you want to go down to the capabilities tab and scroll down in here to skills and then press add. Go upload from skill and then click upload. Next, navigate to the head of content folder and find all of these .skill files. You'll need to upload each of these individually. It's super annoying. So Anthropic, if you're watching, please let me upload all of the skills at the same time. So once you've got all your skills uploaded, it's going to look something like this, and you can disable them. I wouldn't recommend that though. The other thing we're going to need to do in the capabilities tab is allow network egress. We're going to need to make sure that that's checked as yes. And then for the domain allow list, I have all domains set. Once you've done that, that's pretty much all you need to do. You can go back to the Cowork tab and press new task, and then you just need to go down to this button down here. This will say work anywhere, but since I've already set it up, it's saying my directory. Click that and then go choose a different folder. Then you need to find your head of content folder, which I have open here, and press open. This tells Claude Cowork that this is the folder that we're working in, and which is where all our scripts are being saved and housed. So we have a few different key directories here. The .claude folder is where we're keeping our context, which is where you go in and add in all of the different accounts that you're looking to scrape every time that the head of content runs. That's the same for Instagram, TikTok, and X, but the only difference here is YouTube. Because we're using the TubeLab API, which has a really great out-of-the-box Outliers API, where instead of giving TubeLab information about what channels we want to scrape, we're giving TubeLab information about ourselves, and then we're able to identify the keywords and niches that are related to the types of videos that we're posting. So that's why in this file you'll include like your channel handle and channel ID, and then that's what Claude will use to go and run those skills. So outside of the context folder, there's also the skills folder, which is where all of the different Claude skills that we've added into the repo are living. So there's the content planner, which is the orchestration layer. This content planner skill works with each of the other different skills to come up with the content plan at the end. This is the one that's telling Claude to spin up the 4 sub-agents. So that's why there's no scripts in the content planner skill, because it doesn't actually really do that much. It's just telling Claude to spin up sub-agents and run each of the other skills. So if we look at X research, for instance, there's 2 scripts, a fetch tweets and also an analyze posts. So once it's fetched all the information from the Amplify scraper, it then runs the analyze posts, which is how we come up with the outlier scores. And then all of the information for that is within the skill.md file. That same pattern is carried across all of the researchers except for YouTube research. And then obviously video content analyzer. So as I said before, skills are composable. So that means that the X research skill can actually tell Claude to call another skill, being the video content analyzer, which is how I've got it set up at the moment. So when X research, TikTok research, or Instagram research identifies outliers, it'll take the best 5 videos that are performing the highest and pass those to the video content analyzer, which uses the Gemini API to actually watch the videos and come up with insights around the hooks, the structure, the script, the visuals, to find what about that video is actually making it perform well, and then taking those insights back to the report that gets generated at the end. So that's how the skills directory works. You'll also see that skills are packaged up here at the bottom, and these are the skills that you're adding into Claude Cowork directly. These .skill files are literally just packaged up versions of each of those little folders that I just showed you. Outside of that, there's really not that much to it apart from the output directories. So there's content plans, Instagram research, TikTok research, X research, and YouTube research. All of these folders are at the root of the directory, and this is where our finished research products get saved by Claude. So I've got an example here of the content ideas file, which is saved here, the Instagram playbook, the TikTok playbook, the X playbook, and the YouTube playbook. Those are all saved within the particular run file, and that's the same for everything else. So every time you run Instagram research, regardless of whether that's as part of the higher level content planning skill, it will create a run within the TikTok research folder. So I can actually go for that most recent report that I did, go and find the particular outlier data directly, see the raw JSON from the scraper, and then get the report as well as the video analysis. And that same pattern is carried across all of the different output folders here. So it's the same for X research. There's no video analysis file because call the video analysis tool, and for YouTube research as well. What we also get with YouTube is transcripts and thumbnails. I can see all of the different thumbnails that the research skill has pulled in. And then from here, the plan is to take these thumbnails, give it to a thumbnail generator tool, and use Nano Banana to swap in faces to recreate these thumbnails and make edits. You're also getting the full transcript as well for YouTube research when it deems it's necessary. It doesn't always run that, but you can always change that in the skill instructions. We also have the outlier information and then the final report as well as the video analysis.json. So those are the files that are output. And if you're looking at this inside a cursor and thinking that looks really overwhelming, I'm not going to interact with it like that, that's totally fine. You can still interact with all of these output files directly in Finder. So in Finder, I have the head of content folder, which is where all of these files are living, and I have the output folders. So I can see my content plans, all saved as markdown files. You can even ask Claude to save these as PDFs if you wanted to, and just expand on the skills to get more portable formats. So that's how you would interact with it if you're not comfortable using something like an IDE to do that. So if I go into Claude Cowork and I start with a create me a content plan for this week, that will kick off Claude to start working on it. So the first thing Claude's going to do is look for the skills that it has loaded in. So you can see that it's used the content planner skill, and that's where it's getting the instructions to go and use the rest of the skills that we've loaded into the Claude Cowork repository. It starts to run a bunch of commands, reads all the files, and you can start to see what files it's reading in the right-hand side in the context window. So you can see that's reading the YouTube, X accounts, Instagram accounts, and TikTok accounts, all from that context folder within the .claude directory. Now it's going to ask us a few key questions. What platforms do I want to include in this content plan? All 4. And I just want a 2-week calendar. What type of content do you want to prioritize? For me, I'm going to say long form YouTube content, but you can do anything. And then once I've answered those questions, that'll kick Claude off into updating its to-do list, which we'll see come up in the right-hand side here. And we can see a little bit of an insight into how Claude Code is thinking. So it's going to create the master run folder, which is creating those new folders within each of the different output directories. And then it's going to start the research agents. So the really smart thing about this head of content is that we're using sub-agents to do the research for each of the particular platforms. So that content planner skill doesn't really have all that many instructions to it. The content planner is just taking the research that it gets from the X research, YouTube research skills, and then formatting that into our content ideas and playbooks that we want to see at the end of it. So it doesn't actually have any information about how to do the scrapes. All it knows is that it needs to create 4 sub-agents and instruct each of those sub-agents to take one particular category of scraping. That sub-agent then actually reads this relevant skill and goes and completes the scraping job and creates their summarized report, which is what the content planner ingests to create your final content ideas and content playbooks. So we can see that Claude Code has already started our 4 sub-agents, and these are running in parallel. So this is going to be a lot faster if we just created one skill to go out and create, to do all this research. And we also get the benefit of not eating up our context window. So context window in Claude Cowork is 200,000 tokens, which is the same as Claude Code. Each of those different agents is operating within its own separate context window, meaning that each research agent has 200,000 tokens. And our top level content planner run, which is what we're looking at here in Claude Cowork, has its own 200,000 tokens. So we're preserving our tokens for the actual output and the content ideas and playbooks, which is the important part. This is going to take about 10 minutes to run. So while this is happening, you can go and do literally anything and come back and check on it. You don't have to sit here and stare at it like I'm going to, but we'll come back once it's finished. Great, so it looks like our head of content is done. That's taken about 10 minutes, less than 15 definitely. And in the output that we can see it's completed all of the different research for the platforms that we wanted to do, so X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. It's given us our top 3 content ideas, and it's created our 2-week calendar starting on January 20th, so in 5 days' time. I don't know why I picked January 20th, but of course it all comes down to prompting. So if you wanted to do something else, you could. It created a bunch of different files, and these are all stored in the artifacts menu here, as well as accessible in the chat, and they're in the head of content repository or folders. So we can see all the different tasks that Claude's checked off to get done, and here's the content ideas. So if I can open it up inside a Cowork directly, and I can see that it's analyzed about 2,000 posts on X, and it's given us our high priority topics. So Claude Code's workflows and setup has 465,000K plus engagement on X, but that's not really present on YouTube. So I should be focusing on some Claude Code workflows and setup, as well as spec-based AI development, AI orchestration, and generational wealth plus AI positioning, which I'm not sure about that one. It's also given us a bunch of different high outlier tweets, so the best ones that returned as part of that X research, and some details about why they did well and how you could take those and change them a little bit and repost it for yourself, so the suggested angles, as well as the trending topics and hashtags, and our 2-week calendar down the bottom here, which I said that I wanted to focus on long form content, so it has a heavy focus on YouTube. It's going to be a 15-minute tutorial on how I use Claude Code to build features in under an hour, and that's planned out for the next 2 weeks for me. It's also given me some research around YouTube and content production notes, as well as our sources down the bottom. So that's the high-level content ideas file. In addition to that, you also get the YouTube playbook, X playbook, and Instagram playbook. So these playbooks are more specific to that particular platform and what's working on that platform. So that might be the different hooks, the different video styles, the filming techniques, the angles, all of that stuff that's working on, so let's say Instagram, for example. That is what we're going to see in these different playbooks. So we've got the winning hook, and then on TikTok, we've got the same. So that's what those playbooks are, and feel free to try this for yourself and run it and jump in and really see all the different value. Again, just if you're not happy with something that's in the playbook, just go and update the skill. The skills are in Markdown, they're not code. You can just go into the skill directory and change the text and you'll get a different result. I just want to zoom out for a second, because this workflow would have taken me 6 hours to complete if I was doing it by hand. And with Claude Cowork, that's taken about 15 minutes. And it's great in its current state. We get so much valuable insights as to what type of content is working across all of the different platforms. But you can see the next logical step here is adding in the ability to create rather than just research. So whether that's creating scripts, thumbnails, editing videos, all of that stuff, that's where I want to take this repo and transform it from more of a researcher into a creator, and really as a co-worker for marketing. And you could even take it another step further than that. Like, imagine if it was able to scrape ad creative, take that ad creative and create something for your brand in your niche, and based on the winning outliers that are working in the marketplace at the moment. If you found this video useful, hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'm planning a bunch more content around Claude Cowork because I'm really excited for this tool. If you have any suggestions around workflows you'd like to see automated, or different types of coworker directories that I could build out, please drop a comment below. Thanks, guys.